Welcome to Washington Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo, Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins, led by a fire force. It's a new day. Dawn, no longer the laughing stock. It's time to take command.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And you see who I'm with. You see who I'm with over here in Chile. So you put the sweatshirt on. Chile, South Carolina.
Yeah. I am not happy, Sean. It was below freezing today at the start. I took the kids in. It was 37 degrees. That's just ridiculous. It's not January yet. It's November and hitting these temperatures. But let me tell you something. I had a win today. Big win. So our son's been home the last 2 days. He's got a double ear infection. He was a mess today. Like something ain't going right. Not eating, all this kind of stuff. I said, this is what we're going to do. He's a mess. I'm going to go take him for a ride. I'm going to order some Domino's pizza. And this is what we're doing for dinner. And Connor ate an entire piece of pizza. I just had to keep cutting it back. He was like, more. And that's all he ate all day. I was telling Trisha the whole time at the dinner table, I go, this is a win for Dad right here. Dad win. Look at this. I got the pizza. I got the kid feeding. He perked up immediately right after that. Yep. Dad of the year right there.
There you go. Gotta show love. Hey, and I gotta tell my guy's name, Mr. Will Kramer. Yes, sir. Yo, and welcome back. We are back. Washington Football Weekly. You know what we got to talk about. We're here. We show up each and every opportunity we get. And sometimes we get some of the crew, some of the guys that love this team just as well as we do, but maybe he has some different thoughts about it. But we're going to bring him in, our guy and good friend, Jack Niedermeyer. What up, Jack?
Gentlemen, thank you for having me. It's been too long. Mm-hmm. How is it going?
It has. Glad you're back.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's always good. It's always good. As long as I don't have to watch that Thanksgiving game ever again, it's all good.
I missed the fourth quarter. I was driving home during the fourth quarter, so I got back and then checked my phone. I'm like, oh man, glad I didn't have to watch that. So
right. Lucky you.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, guys. I think we're being too pessimistic here. This is an opportunity. Think about where we're at this offseason. We're going to have a new coaching staff. We're going to have a ton of cap space. Mm-hmm. We're going to have 5 picks in the top 100. This is a pivotal time that you're going to see maybe a transcendence of our team or the beginning of the turnaround for this team. I think we need to be a little bit more excited about this.
I told you, Sean. See, I told you. Every time that we would win, I would be celebrating Victory Monday, and it was Jack's Misery Monday. He was always upset. Every victory, he was upset.
Just to be stuck in mediocrity. In mediocrity like they've been for the past how long? Like another 8-8, another 8-1. Like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
They don't get any better. They don't draft well. They're just stuck. They're just stuck in that middle pick where when you don't draft well, you're just stuck there forever.
Yep. We're the king of picks 16, 17, 18, or 19. One of those picks is us each year. We can lock that in. All right.
What was it? Someone telling me, like, why don't they just trade away their first and second round pick for a bunch of third round picks? Because that seems to be only round they hit in the third and beyond. So what's the point?
It's really sad.
Yeah.
Man, well, look, we're glad we have you here, Jack. And I mean, hey, you alluded to a number of things that are going on. Obviously, a number of coaches were fired, but Ron is still here temporarily. We'll definitely see. Let's talk about the state of Washington. Obviously, you like that, we're losing, so we can get these picks, but where can we go from here? Because the last couple of weeks have not looked good.
No, that defense has been atrocious. Absolutely. You're not going to win any games like that. So, Jack Del Rio is gone, which is great. So we'll see with Ron calling the plays. I don't expect a major turnaround. Maybe they'll blitz more. I don't know. So, we'll see what this kind of alludes to. But again, like I really think this is a good thing. Like it's time for change. Like they've been mediocre. Ron's track record has proven that, like, same thing in Carolina. He just, he middles. He's not a great coach. He's not a great personnel guy. It's just, I love the guy from a personal standpoint. I think he has great character. I think he brought a really good, character to this team, or a different mindset to this team. But from a football standpoint, I just don't think he's the guy. So it's time. It's time to let him move on to something else, play some golf out in California or whatever he does, and then on to the next phase.
Yeah, we need to. Will, what are your thoughts? I mean, about this right here. First and foremost, will this even make a difference? And the writing is on the wall. We know for the most part, 4 or 5 games from now, Ron will be gone. Is this good riddance? Is this, let's see these last 5 games? What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think what this shows is the fact that they chose to fire Jack Del Rio and not Ron, is that the Harris group is really trying to show they can be patient with coaches when you're struggling, and it's not, the next coach that comes in is going to get more than 11 games. They're not pulling a David Tepper, essentially, and how bad that's been doing. But when it comes to Ron calling plays, I'll say this: we better not get better. Okay, because here's one of the things I've heard is that he's looking at simplifying some of the defensive calls, having less switches, maybe moving the defensive line around a little bit more. Maybe he'll go more into zone and not play so much man, or vice versa. And my thing is, if all of a sudden the defense starts playing better because you make some adjustments, where have you been the entire season? The way you've allowed your defensive coordinator to just have his teams get crushed out there and not make adjustments. So we better not have a whole lot of improvement under Ron, because that would be really bad on his leadership of this whole franchise.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we talk about EB on the offense, and does Ron have his hand in some of these calls and stuff like that? Well, we figured JDR was his guy, so Ron does his thing and JDR, let him do his, but apparently that has not been working. And then obviously Visselmeyer, the DB's coach, we fired him as well. I mean, to your point, Will, if we see a resurgence in this defense, but is that possible, Jack? Because we know these guys will play for Ron.
That's what I'm saying. Ron's a good character dude. But I'm just so tired of sitting, watching him with his mouth half open on the sideline, going like this, not knowing what's going on. Yeah, right. Stoic with his arms crossed, not saying anything. And when what was it, like at the beginning of the year? He's like, "Oh, I didn't realize we had a good quarterback in Sam Howell." And at the beginning of the year, I'm like, you see him every day. Like how is this some mystery that you just solved? Like, it just blows my mind. Like, he's just, I don't know. I think it's time, but just I think he's not incompetent, but it's just like I don't. He's just a mediocre coach. Like, he's okay, but he's not going to be able to take you to the next level.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And look, you alluded to it. Speaking of taking teams to the next level, that comment that Ron said about Sam Howell, had us all kind of baffled. Like, all right, you saw this, but you didn't want to put him in. You didn't know what you had. Do you know your players? And now I think obviously from North Carolina, Sam Howell is my guy. So when we drafted him, I was just to the moon with it. He's struggled, obviously, on par to get be sacked the most times in the NFL history. But he's still top 3. Obviously, Will hates this, but top 3 passing yards. Is this what the question says? The answer or the problem? Do we build around this guy?
It's hard to tell because I think a lot of his stats are padded by the fact that what the Commanders are he has the most passing attempts in the whole league. Like they don't run the ball like that. They're constantly playing behind. That they're constantly throwing the ball in that offense. So, of course his stats are going to look good from like a yardage perspective. So it's hard to say. Like the offense has looked okay. Like I think it's ranked like 14th or something like that, and like passing, and then or overall, and then but rushing. I think they're like 3rd to last in attempts.
Yeah.
Like definitely the bottom 5 in yardage. So again, like I like Sam Howell. I think he has a lot of intangibles. Like I think he has got a good arm. He makes rookie mistakes. I can't tell you how many times I've yelled at the TV because he just will not slide.
Yep.
It just drives me crazy.
North Carolina tough.
Oh my God! Fighting for 3 yards after he's got the first down, then he gets the ball ripped out.
Yeah.
And I just he's got to get that awareness going. But honestly, I think you could potentially build around him. But my issue here is that if we're going to have such a high pick in this draft, you have to take a really hard, long look at what he is and whether you think he can be a top 10 quarterback in the league, because you're going to have an opportunity to pick one of the premier quarterbacks coming out this year. And it's like Will and I have talked about, it's a pretty good quarterback draft coming up.
Yeah.
So I saw Cable Williams is still on the fence on whether or not he's going to, go out for the draft. But at this point, it's kind of hard to say whether or not these guys would be announcing it yet or not. I don't know. So
Spencer Rattler has already announced.
I bet he is. Oh, is that where we're going with?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right.
No. Bill, that's decision. But Will, I mean, what do you think though? And you and I have talked about it. We've all had this discussion, on what Sam Howell's ceiling really is. There's been times when you said, he's just a really good backup. And I wonder if we're being fooled by the stats and by, he does have certain intangibles, but is this guy really just a quality, serviceable quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think?
I think I take back my initial thoughts of he's going to turn out to be a really good backup in this league. I take that all back now. He is a bona fide NFL starter. Absolutely. What I think the jury is still out on is he going to take you to the elite level, or is he going to be someone who can play, who can win you games, but is he going to have ultimately a career that he may bounce around to a couple teams, getting an opportunity to play. It's one of those things. If you look at like Geno Smith, good quarterback, but do we think he's the guy in Seattle that's going to turn the franchise around or, bring him to a championship? I don't know about that. And that's where I think we're still trying to find out about Sam. I mean, I think it's absolutely, he's the best quarterback Washington's ever had since Kirk Cousins. And before that, he was the best quarterback Washington's had since 1999 and Brad Johnson. And any other year, I would say it's a no-doubter. We're drafting a left tackle in the first round, and, we are the most, easiest pick to consider, to predict right now. But with this quarterback's class, it does, like Jack said, make you wonder, is there somebody there that could be better? I mean, I tell you this, the guy to me that's flying up the draft boards is Jaden Daniels out of LSU. And I just think about, what if you get somebody, an offense, like, I'm kind of jumping a segment here, but what if we were to get the Eagles offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson, to be our head coach, and he says, get me the quarterback that can run read options the way we do it with Jalen Hurts. And that's not Sam. Sam is mobile to make plays, but that's not a part of an offensive game plan. Where what if he says, I can run the same offense that I just did in Philly with success with this guy? And that's just where it complicates the whole decision-making process on it.
Right. Yeah. And again, we don't know who's going to come in and be our head coach. We don't know,
Right.
and we're going to talk about the different pieces to the puzzle. Like we don't know who they are going to bring in, and this new guy, like you said, might want his guy. He might want to go after somebody that he's been looking at for some time. So look, my thing is this, and I've talked to this, Jack. I've said this to Will. If we do keep Sam, this means we also got to keep EB, because I don't want to keep switching up offensive coordinators and have it like Jason Campbell, where it was every year it was somebody new. Now, do we keep EB in this spot, or do we move him up?
See, and this is why I was kind of hoping they'd let go of Ron earlier. So they could, granted, EB would kind of get the short end of the stick here, but they could, put him in the place of the head coach. He'd have the murderer's row of the schedule coming up and, potentially get fired because he, doesn't win a single game. But, I think he's going to get the short end of the stick either way next year, unfortunately. They're going to look to clear house. It's kind of weird that they keep the offensive coordinator and fire the rest of them. But, I could be wrong. But I'm with you. But, I don't want to, jump too far ahead here, but maybe they could bring in like one of these, hot shot offensive coordinators that have been able to turn around some of these other quarterbacks and keep it going with Sam. I don't know. What I'm hearing about EB and what a lot of people don't like about him is that he's old school. He yells at everybody. He's a screamer. He's just, players don't like him. Like he's just, he's up on you all day, every day, just, nonstop, like like Belichick or, gosh, who's that old Giants coach? I forget. But after him, Coughlin. Yeah, just old school, constantly screaming at you. So, I don't know. I like the way that the offense has gone, but again, like they refuse to run the ball, and I don't know if that's because the way that the line is or what. But I just think I just don't know what's going to happen to EB next year. But granted, he's done a great job with Sam. I must say though, I agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. And you jumped right into it. And you talked about it. There was a report, Grant Paulson, somebody you listen to all the time, kind of saying in-house it is questionable. Do they want him to stay? So you kind of jumped ahead and said, if they might get rid of him, they might let him go to see, because we don't know who they're all bringing in. But what does that say about EB? Or is this what everybody was saying before when they didn't hire him as head coach?
Exactly. And I'm hearing more and more that he didn't have anything to do with the play calling out in Kansas City. So I don't know. I have no idea. Like, it's really, it's too small of a sample size. Like, the guy finally gets, like, the first year of getting the clipboard and calling all the plays. Like, he's just, it's really hard to say. Maybe this isn't the type of personnel that he's used to, and he needs to win. Like, it's just, all this stuff is so circumstantial, especially when it comes to the NFL. Like, people just do not get a long time to, to really prove what they have and wait for that perfect situation to, get everything in line to really succeed. So it's just, unfortunately, like we've seen here so many times before where we have like, decent coordinators and they just go off somewhere else where, they do have the perk of, the better circumstances and they do succeed. It's just, I don't know. But, again, like if you're not getting the locker room, if people don't like you, like especially on the team, and they're not going to play for you, like it's just, I don't know what you do about that. But again, it's just, hearing from another person through another person through another person, this is, this is their reaction to him. So maybe they just talk to somebody who's butthurt from, getting yelled at by EB. I have no idea. So it's just, it's tough to say.
It's been, I mean, look, this has been news all season long. We've heard about this multiple times that EB is louder in-house. And Will, I wonder, I mean, we know what Ron is. He's a player's coach. The guys will run through a wall for him. He's a guy that you can come in there and he'll pat you on the shoulder, that type of thing. EB is the opposite. Right. I wonder if that's the clash. I mean, we've heard multiple times about, players want Ron to talk to EB, and now they want, Ron to take back some of that power. Maybe you just can't have both heads in-house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good point, because then you allow head coach to be good cop too often, Yeah. I think it's concerning that EB is at another franchise and the same things are being said. I think for his career, this is concerning. And I think the problem that is going against him with this type of narrative is you look at the team. All right, if you're 4-8 and you're ripping on players, you're not getting the results that are helping them. You're not winning. It's one thing if you're, it's one thing when you're Belichick and you look at him the wrong way and he cuts you the next day and then he wins a Super Bowl weeks later and you're like, well, there's a method to his madness.
Mm-hmm.
EB can't say the same thing. Like you said, yes, we're putting up some really good passing stats, but there's asterisks by it. There's reason behind that. It's because we're 4-8, and in the fourth quarter, we're having to throw the ball. It's look at your running backs and look at your lack of production, there. So I think that hurts him. But and I will say this: I'm also totally okay with a complete cleaning of house of everything. Cleanse the whole building, paint everything over again, get new carpet, and let's give this ownership a fresh chance to put all their style onto this franchise. And if that means that we don't give EB the chance to stick around as an OC or as a head coach, I don't care. I am finally, after many, many years of holding on to people and holding on to players, just willing to say, give me something fresh. Let me start all over.
You've disconnected that emotional attachment, and I'm proud of you for that.
Right.
That's good.
That's right.
That's a good step. I like that.
It took 40 years. 41 years.
I believe it, man. I believe you love your team. I've never held that against you, man.
Too much. Loves them too much. But I understand. Yep. I get it. But look, you guys both been talking about it. Let's go into it. Let's move forward. We don't have a shot for the playoffs. So let's start talking. What is going to happen? What are we thinking is going to take place this offseason? Jack, I'll come to you first. What do you want to happen?
Like Will was saying, I think you just got to blow it up. Like, I think you just got to fire them all, bring in a new head coach, bring in it all. And then, just start from fresh. Again, you got all those draft picks. You got all that cap space. You got some really good pieces here to build off of, especially on the offense. And so, you got 2 stud defensive tackles in the middle that are under contract. You got a lot of good pieces. So I could see them, bringing in a new coach, bringing in a new GM, and unfortunately, I think they're probably going to draft a quarterback. I think that's probably what they're going to do with this type of opportunity. Depending on where they, end up, unless they end up winning out by some craziness. Like I see them getting their QB. I just don't know who it's going to be. I have no idea. There's just so many to choose from. It seems like this season. I just don't know.
Right.
And they're probably picking up a couple offensive linemen in the in free agency. That type of thing, filling in as many holes as they possibly can on that end. But that's probably what I see happening. Just fresh start, drafting free agents, bringing them in, and just basically hitting the reset button, starting the process, just like they did out up in Philly. So with the Sixers. So it's time to do that. Just gotta draft our Joel Embiid somehow. That's what we got to do. So
he's out there.
Yeah. Yep. So that's kind of where I'm at. Just blow it up.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts, Will?
I'm most excited next is not to see who the head coach is going to be. I'm most excited to see who is going to take over this front office. Jack alluded to the fact, I can't remember if it was on the show or when we were talking before we went live, and how bad we are at drafting in the first and most particularly the second round. How many misses we had. So I'm done with the Martin Mayhew, Marty Herneys of the world overdrafting guys like Phil Mathis and Percy Butler and Cole Turners who are not producing on the field. And I want us to find somebody from a young personnel guy who's coming from an organization or has come from organizations that have success, that have had people go beyond elsewhere. And basically what happened to us in 2013 and all these guys left and became head coaches, I want us to be plucking one of those young guys to take over the franchise. So that's my next thing is who is going to be the decision maker out here on personnel and who's going to be their head coach. And I'm really curious to see the ties that come from it. They talk about this there, football can be very, very incestual, and it's like, what ties does this new general manager have? And therefore, so what head coaches candidates are they looking for? And then you find out they probably worked together years ago at some organization and whatnot. But I'm just excited. You look at organizations like Philly that trades a lot of picks, a lot of players for picks. You look at San Francisco and how they've accumulated their franchise and how things are going. It's like, can you find personnel and scouts from those teams to bring in a fresh set of ideas to our organization?
Yeah,
Agreed.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Now, for me, honestly, I think the offseason, and this is no indication of how I felt about the season, but I think the offseason started as soon as Josh Harris and them got in here, because as we know, it was them looking at spreadsheet of everything they have, and let's see, what do we have? What kind of coach? And then everybody was on trial. And we've seen certain guys have gone, certain guys have left out. But one of the biggest things, one of the major issues we had, especially from, the Dan Snyder era, is people didn't want to come here. People, even in the DC area, didn't want to deal with us. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that Josh Harrison and the Harris group has done has rebuilt that bridge, brought in these people. Now you start having people that want to come. EB coming here was a big, big thing. I want to keep Sam. That's obviously,
sure.
But I want us to see if we can build around him more than just because I like him and I'm rooting for the guy, but because I think that also says something for us. Let's be honest. In the last 4 years, how many quarterbacks have we had? I mean, Ron had to deal with countless number, 4 guys in 2020, and it's been, Heineke, Wentz, Fitzpatrick, all these guys since then. We need to change that narrative. You know what I mean? If we're going to sit here and draft this guy, let's give him the opportunity. It's not like he's terrible out here. So in my opinion, that new coach I want that new GM. I want the new coaches. I want them to be in love with the Sam. I want them to say, all right, I got a good quarterback, a quality guy. Let's build around him. I want offensive-minded guys. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at right now. I love Ron. I'm 100% an 80s baby, Ron Rivera, Bears, all that stuff. But he's a defensive guy. He's a defensive guy with a record of losing. I want us to look for an offensive guy that it's young, who's smart, and he wins. He has a history of winning. And I think that's going to be something. It's all about changing the narrative in Washington.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah, erasing that black mark, all that Dan Snyder stuff. I think one of the things that us as fans, and maybe not the people in this show, but us as fans have thought as soon as Dan Snyder left, everything was going to change.
Yeah.
And we still are dealing with all that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's going to take some time. But in my opinion, let's go full steam ahead with what we have in-house, and let's start making those moves. I don't know exactly who. I know Cunningham, Will, you send me, that stuff. But a lot has to do with what exactly happens to Ron. Because I want to ask you guys a question. It's been speculated. We've talked about it. Ron's on his way out to the end of the year. But with the 4 years that he's had, we can all say that he has done a part in attempting to change the culture. Do you keep that somehow part of the team, or what do you think?
I think he gone, man. I think I think that's it. I think it's just, why would you keep him at this point? It's just he's clearly not been able to pick successfully in the drafts. You could keep him on as your character guy. I don't know what type of role that would be in house, but I don't think he would take that. I think he would choose to just move on. I unless he's GM or head coach, I don't see him being here.
Yeah.
So and again, I just we've tried this. We've tried this for 4 years now, and it's just it's clearly it's not working. So you gotta move on. You gotta cut ties. Let the dude retire, take a couple years off, and then he'll get recycled like all the other people do in the NFL do anyway. So. Yep. You'll find a job somewhere else, and then probably end up being a head coach in 4 or 5 years, just because that's how it goes. So,
cycle.
I think we trade him to Carolina. Let's get a draft pick for Ron Rivera. Let's
10th round pick.
And I don't mean that to be mean. I'm saying Carolina's such a mess, and who wants to go coach there with the owner who just fired his first year head coach in 11 games? Well, Ron is beloved in Charlotte. So like here, y'all can have him back. Give us a 5th round pick. We'll take a 5th round pick. Y'all can have him back. I think part of the cleansing of the franchise and cleansing of everything that was Dan Snyder is you get rid of Ron and you shake his hand and thank him because he went through a lot while here. Let's think about it. He signed on as coach of the Redskins, and now look where we're at in 2023. And by the time
he survived cancer,
then he had personal struggles, right?
Yeah,
so it's like he has had a much harder time than I think he realized. Which I would also say, well, shame on you for getting sold. That this was going to be easy because this franchise with Dan Snyder was never going to be easy to be successful. Sure. But he's not the guy for what they want to do, and we need to move on from him.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And this is where you got to separate the business from the fan side. Because that 2020 was special. It was magical, man. It was magical. I believed. And hey, Ron, if this is your time, buddy, I appreciate all you've done for us. But look, and so we talk about cleaning house with the players, but I mean, people have asked. About certain players. I mean, we talk about Sam and if we're going to get a new quarterback, but let's look at the big name guys. Let's look at, a couple guys are on contract, but we're thinking toward the future. Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Terry McLaurin, these type of guys that obviously in every other year we would say, no, they're off limits. Don't touch them. Now we kind of have to see if we're going in a new direction. We know how good they are, but when you are losing, there are some habits that you pick up that it's just hard to let go of. So once we start winning, are they going to bring that over? So are these guys on the not hot seat, but is everybody in play? I'll say that.
I think you're going to keep key pieces like that. Like I listen to Jonathan Allen talk every week, and dude, that guy's got a lot of pride in his game. Like there is no way that guy would become like a loser and just is just there to collect a paycheck. Hearing that guy talk gets me pumped up. Like he's got it, man. But same thing with Terry. Like I don't really hear a lot from Big Payne. Like I don't really hear much of what he talks about, and I can't really get a gauge of his character. But I think you hold on to pieces like that. Those are guys you're gonna build around and help lead this team once you bring new players in. From a player perspective, they're kind of team captains already at this point. So I don't see them moving them unless it's some maybe too good to be true, trade offer or something like that. I just don't see it. I see them holding on to those guys, and that's not from like an emotional standpoint. I think that's more from like a business standpoint of not completely blowing it up, unless they do something crazy and trade whatever pick they have plus one of those veteran players for like the first overall pick or something like that. That's possible. That's always possible.
It's
but
possible.
I just don't see it. Yeah, I just don't see it, man. So yeah.
What you think, Will?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately you would anticipate someone like Terry, someone like Jonathan, Daron Payne, maybe if you re-sign Cam Curl, those are your building blocks of the team. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you also got to think Terry's going to go on how many, coaches have been helping him, not just head coaches, but offensive coordinators, schemes. How many quarterbacks has he had thrown to him? Jonathan Allen has – we haven't had a winning season since he's joined our franchise.
It drives them crazy.
What if what if they want to come and say, I know you guys need to go in a different direction, but I need a fresh start. And to that, I say you give it to them. You give any player, it also could mean a little bit of a, growing pains for us. But if anybody like that says they don't want to be here, then we need to move on from them. We need to give this new regime a chance to fully mold their players.
Have you heard any rumblings about any of those guys wanting to move on?
No, I'm just bringing this up just as as a scenario. No, you're right. Yeah, and I don't know if you would hear that from those folks anyway. But
I don't know. Yeah,
I also feel bad for them. How many quarterbacks has Terry had to catch balls from?
Right.
Do we finally have the guy for him? I mean, potentially, but he's also not putting up great numbers. How many?
Sure.
Daron Payne. Did we get? What happened to him this year?
He's not playing for a contract.
Got paid. Yeah.
I mean, was 2022 Deron Payne the outlier? Are we seeing what he's been his whole career? So do we need to praise this guy? I don't know.
I don't know.
Right. And so that's where the question was, because when you look at it from a business perspective, you start looking at it from, well, how much can I get for this guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations where you're kind of like, no, I don't want to see them go. And like you said, they are building blocks. But let's look at who we're tied to. We're forever tied to the Panthers. How many times did we say we're the Washington Commanders? Because all we did was pull guys like that. And let's look what they did in the last year. The amount of quarterbacks they went through, Robbie Anderson, CMC, DJ Moore, all these guys out. Now, they are truly a dumpster fire. We don't want to go down that far. But at the same time, if we are truly going to clean house, it just makes you wonder which directions, how, are they really going to go? But hopefully they don't do that.
And I do think go ahead, Jack. You go ahead.
I was going to say, I think we already kind of did to this point. Like, I still am very happy with the Chase Young and sweat moves. Like, those guys, again, like it looks like we made the right move with getting rid of those guys when we did, instead of paying them top tier money. Chase Young, granted he's on a stacked defense, but he's not the game changer that we thought he would be his rookie year. Like maybe it's injury wise, maybe. I was reading like post forums after the last San Francisco Seattle game where they're just saying like, why is he not running after the play? Why is he not going? Why is he not going after the ball when they're running outside of his zone? Like I just think that's how he is, man. I think he's just kind of like a selfish player who just doesn't. If he doesn't get that sack, like he's just not going to give you that hustle. Maybe he's afraid of the knee getting hurt. I don't know, but it's just, and the same thing with Sweat. They gave him a huge chunk of money, and I love Montez like here, but it's just I don't think he's worth that. What do you get, like 24-25 mil a year or something like that? Like you just you can't.
Chicago fans are already on him. Like saying they took him out of the game when when the game was on the line, or he's not out there when necessary. They're already kind of griping on that stuff, and y'all already paid his ass. So
stuck with him. Yeah, and I don't think the NFL necessarily does what you see in basketball or especially baseball with trading all your assets away. So I wouldn't expect the guys like Terry and Jonathan to be traded, but because you also have the ability to flip rosters. Sometimes you bring in the right coaches. Look what happened in Dallas when they brought in their defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. Look how quickly he flipped that, and that's the excitement that I have for our offseason is let's bring in. So Ben asked, are we going to stick with Bieniemy or outside? I want to go outside because I want an outsider to look at this offense and say, okay, the best case scenario is a new coach comes in and says, I've got a young quarterback that I can do something with. I've got two receivers that are on the team right now in Terry and Jahan. I can do something with those guys, but I also need another piece to, someone physical. When we need 3rd and 3, I need someone physical to make that catch. All right. I've got some running backs who can play, but we need to get some linemen. Like I want an offensive mind thinker to come in and say, there's some pieces here that I can do something with. This is what I just need to bring in a couple pieces and I'm ready to go. So that's what has me excited about the offseason.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Let's bring in a short yardage back so we don't have to run so much daggone shotgun on 3rd and 1. I mean, God. Ridiculous. Right? Yo, look, we are going to go ahead and move on. Before we do, we're going to do a quick little breather. We will be right back to talk about the Miami Dolphins.
And so I always look forward to this because it breaks up the week for me, because Mondays, like, who likes Mondays? You guys ever watch that movie, I Sometimes Have a Case of the Mondays? Everybody see Office Space? No?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are we all
Henry Ford.
So
I just want to be a gangster.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. That was a clip from our Tuesday show. Let's Talk Football, the round table with Nicholas Rosario, Lila Crespo, Tina Winter, and Anthony Handy talking about their teams. And bunch of other stuff, joking and all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely tune into them on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Yo, we are back with my guy over here, Mr. Will Kramer, and our guest, our good friend, Mr. Jack Niedermeyer. And hey, we still got a game. Washington is still playing in a Super Bowl 17 and Super Bowl 7 rematch. Yeah, Washington plays Miami this week in FedEx. I mean, the floor is yours, guys. We know how good Miami can be. They put up 70 at one point this year. Is this going to be a total blowout, or are we going to shock somebody? Like, what do y'all think, man?
Ron's calling the defense, man. We're going to see some big time changes here. Big time. We're going to be blitzing. We're going to be blitzing a lot. We're going to be bringing the house. Now, I have a sinking feeling if you got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on your fantasy squad, you're gonna be pretty happy. So saw Forbes probably isn't gonna play. He didn't practice again today. I was really hoping to see more from him this year and see if maybe he could at least be in the game beyond these top tier wide receivers so he can learn. But I have a very bad feeling we're gonna be playing from behind very quickly this game. That their offense is just close to unstoppable. So I do not see them winning this game. But like we've alluded to, these are the games that people need to players on the team need to build their tape. You're going to see who wants to play and who doesn't, who wants to be here and who doesn't. So this is a good idea to see what you got on the team, see who's going to show up. See again, and like I think Will and I have talked about this before. This is what Sam needs to do to figure out either what he's going to do to stay here or where he's going to go after this, or because I what do you put him as a backup to like a rookie quarterback? Like I don't know what you do. Like I don't know enough about football to really keep that in mind about what type of personnel decisions you make at that point. But it's not like you cut a guy in his rookie contract. I don't know. You trade him? Like what do you do? So it's tough to say. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be over pretty quickly. I think by halftime they're probably going to be down by at least 2.5 scores, about that. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't have much confidence. Will, what are you going to be half glass full or half glass empty today?
It's completely empty. Not even half empty. I mean, look at this. Miami's receivers. Let's look at what their threats are versus how we're going to counter that. So Tyreek Hill doubles our leading receiver in yards. He's got 1,324 yards. I can't do my math right now. All right.
Crazy.
Their second leading receiver, Jalen Waddle, has 3 less yards than Terry, who is our leading receiver. Okay, so if the passing game is their biggest threat, and now we've got Benjamin St. Juste going, which we see how handsy he is.
So if they don't call any pass interference plays, we got him. Yeah.
Right. We got we've got. I mean, Kendall Fuller is actually a solid corner. He's solid but not spectacular. That just and in our secondary, how many times do we give up a touchdown and they're doing this here? So that is concerning. That's really concerning. The other thing, I mean, we look here, their running backs, Raheem Mostert has been the starter, then he was out, now he's back to starter. He has more yards than Brian Robinson. A-Chain is only 200 yards behind Robinson on the season, and he's been out since week what?
Is he back? Is he back this week or no?
He was back.
Is he back? Was he really?
I don't know if he's
I thought he tweaked his knee the other week, but I don't know if he was back last week or not.
All I'm saying is their weapons are not are not where we can counter with the strength. So I have very little hopes on Sunday. I don't know. I'll watch it because I gotta watch it, but this might get ugly early.
Yeah. I have no confidence in this. I do think we're gonna start early. I think we're going to start early and we're going to pop them in the mouth. Kind of like the Panthers did when the Panthers played Miami. Panthers went up 14-0.
Really?
They got beat 42-14, but still they jumped out to an early lead. And I believe we jumped out 17-7 on Philly. We've gone toe to toe with some of these guys. So I definitely think we get out early, but that's it. It's going to be over by halftime. I definitely agree with you.
With us saying this, it's going to be one of those games where they just come out there and somehow win. Like the NFL is just so unpredictable. You just never know. But I always think of the sure thing. This is why I don't sports gamble anymore, guys.
Yeah.
Like you just don't know. So again, everyone writes them off, and like they end up somehow pulling it out and playing the good teams tough. They always seem to play up to the competition. So
they do.
Just trying to be positive here, and then you lose to the Giants twice, and then you lose to
The Bears. You give up over 40 points to the Bears.
Bears. Gosh.
Yeah. I watched some of that game the other night against Minnesota. I have no idea. How they did that.
No.
Yeah.
And then they win. God.
That was a
All
terrible
right,
game.
We have to move, ladies and gentlemen, to one of our favorite segments of the show, Keys to Victory, where we tell you some of our keys to victory, and where we try to tell you some of our keys to victory. We're all going to give two, go around, do one, and then we'll do the second one. I'm going to start. One thing I think that we need to try to do is keep that offense off the field, which means we've got to establish some type of a running game. We got to get Brian Robinson, even if running the ball, even if it's those quick screens or those pass plays that are, long handoffs, as we like to call them. We need to do that and get that ball moving down the field, and we need to win that time of possession and just keep taking the ball and doing that. So, Will, I'll go to you next. What's your first key to victory?
Yeah, so because I don't think we have a whole lot of a chance on this, I have to just echo what you said. I can't be creative enough to find something else, but the key to beating this Dolphins team is to not give their offense opportunities. So we need to go back to last year's offense. That was slow, methodical. We ran the ball on first down. We ran the ball on second down. We threw the ball short on third down to move the chains with Taylor Heineke. That's what we need to do, because we need to milk the clock with every possession to limit their opportunities.
Yep, I'm with you guys. And at the same time, they're going to get on the field, and at that point, I think you got to put some pressure on Tua. You got to come after him. You got to get your hands up. I think Tua likes to take some hits. So let's see what we can do to get him rattled up, get him off his game. Just get him on some 3 and outs and just get him off there. I'd like to see some sacks. Like, this team has just been they've been dying for a good defensive performance. I think they're due. So at this point, I think get in there quick, knock them out, get your hands up, knock some balls down. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see is for sure. My second one is a lot more of a wish. We need to wish for inclement weather. We need to wish for some kind of snow, or just for it to get to be extremely cold, because we know Miami, they're a hot team. They're a team that likes to play in nice weather. So if we can make it cold for them. I know you saw that Jets game, even though the Jets had Tim Boyle at quarterback. So but you saw what's his name on the sidelines? Their coach Daniel. His nose was just red. He's sitting here shivering. We need to get it frosty in FedEx. Now, if that also means we need to not pay the water bill, this is one time where I condone the stadium being terrible. Let's make their locker rooms crap. Let's do everything and just come on. We need a miracle.
Hot showers going out against the in the Giants game, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
on purpose. Let's go.
Yeah, the hot water went out, so they couldn't even take showers after the game, man.
Right.
One of my favorite clips of that game against the Jets, if you guys saw it, McDaniel was by the heaters and some of the fans are yelling.
Yeah, they're heckling him.
And then he turned around and they're like, "What, are you cold?" He goes, "Yeah, I am cold." And then he waits a second. He turns to, "I'm also winning."
I'm also winning.
Right to the Jets,
I love him,
which is great.
Yeah,
he's interesting. So my key against the Dolphins, I don't even know if it's possible, but I think you need to go the opposite of putting pass rush on Tua, because he gets the ball out faster than anybody else in the league. And so you almost need to play the defense that we're going to bend and bend and bend and bend into the end. And then we're going to get to a short field with the red zone. And then you're going to have to kick a field goal. Like, we're going to have a bending defense that's going to be prepared to pass defense. Okay. Rather than rush the quarterback, be ready to play, like you said, knock down the ball, play the passing lanes, play the quick throws. So, okay, we'll let you get the 5-yard pass. We'll let you get the 3-yard pass, but we're not going to let you get something deep behind us. But just keep everything in front of you so they can go down a little bit. They can dunk down the field, but then eventually they have to kick field goals. And so if we're able to limit their offense to 3 instead of 7, that might give us a chance to stay in with them.
I'm with you. I'm with you. My problem is those 2 receivers. You give them like, you know, a quick slant or like an out or something like that. They can break it.
They're gone.
It's just
yep.
It's tough to say. Like I'm with you. Like you guys said previously, get the running game going. Just, you know, keep them off the field. Just, you know, grind Brian Robertson. I thought Gibson had played pretty well last week too. So it's just, you know, just try to get that ground game going that we have not seen all year. So, you know, I'd love to see them break off, you know, 4 or 5 yards per carry, something like that. But
yeah,
I'm fresh out of ideas for how to take down Miami.
Yeah,
just
I don't have a whole lot.
Yeah, I
got nothing. The second game ball was going to be try to limit Tyreek and Waddle, but that's not going to happen. So I just prayed for inclement weather.
Yeah, I like it. I love that. Bring in the elements.
Yeah, get some wet, get the old field, get the old FedEx turf in there or something like that, where people are all slipping all over the place. Maybe have a concert the night there before. Maybe have a concert.
Let's go.
Like that.
Let's go. Come on, tear it up, man. Tear it up. Look, but we are almost done, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you guys being here, but it may be unfortunately, we got to give you our score predictions. Jack, since you're our guest, what do you think the score is going to be, buddy?
Oh, man. I'm saying like 35-17, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miami.
Yeah, Will, what you think, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 31-16.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, honestly, I think we're all in the same spot. My first number that popped in my head was 31-14. We jump out early and then they skunk us for 31 straight, and that's it. So, hey, there we go. Let us know what you think. Who do you think is, well, maybe not who do you think is going to win. What do you think the score is going to be?
Yeah, Bobby Wills, tell us how we did. What do you think the score is going to be?
Yes, I'll definitely
413-3. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yo, hey, we'll see, man. We'll see. Yo, Jack Niedermeyer, my guy, man. So appreciate you hopping on here, talking with us, man. Come on now.
Always good to have you. Always good to see you, boys. Yeah, anytime.
Tell Melissa thank you for allowing you to come join us.
Yes.
I will. She does not appreciate this. So yeah.
And let her know that I say go Redskins.
Go Redskins. No. Hail to them. All right, let's go.
No. You can't say that.
Yo.
She's gonna make me throw away this hat.
Oh yeah.
Then I say chop on.
Yo, I had those, you know, those Redskins shoes that I have.
Yeah.
The ones that have like the Redskins thing. I was wearing them in like Target, and somebody actually approached me. They were like, you know, that's kind of offensive, and I was like, oh, and I didn't even think about it because I was just like, all right, it's just my skin shoes, yeah. And then my first thought was, you a Cowboys fan?
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly right.
Like, why are you coming out and saying that?
That's what you should spin their narrative and make it football related the whole time. Be like, oh, you're a Cowboys fan, right? This bothers you, right?
I think this logo is tastefully done. Well, it's tastefully done.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yo, we got to go ahead and get out of here. For my guy, Mr. Jack Niedermeyer, join the show. South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer. You know who it is. It's your boy, Sean Spencer. And even though our record says what it says, left hand still goes up. Let's go. We'll see y'all next time.
Gibbs, you got a good chance. Let me tell you something about some good fans. Back in the day, RFK was our palace. If you don't know, you need to ask about us.